Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you are. And thanks, Ayrton, for the nice introduction there. So, a quick introduction. I'm working in Turkcell, leading GSM operator in Turkey, and I'm responsible for data science community in human resources. So I have human resources responsibilities, data science responsibilities, also managing the data science community we have in the company. I made the quick introduction. I will start with what does AI mean, what does AI promise for human resources, and how the future of the workforce will evolve in the AI era, and how will HR evolve in AI era. And I will share our use cases, how we are trying to become an AI-driven company, and what we are doing specifically in the human resources department. And I will finish up with some recommendations related to these use cases. So here I got two slides from web showing on the technologies of the next decade and the emerging technologies in the next slide. So I'm hoping that you are aware of all the technologies presented on this slide and in the next slide. So the first ones are easier: AI, IoT, mobile internet, blockchain, big data, etc. But as you go through the list, so it is more complex and advanced technologies are coming up, and as we are moving into AI era, as I call it, so you should be aware of all these technologies, and also you should be able to use some of these technologies at some levels. Trying to switch my slide, yeah. Now, as I said, so this is the more difficult one. So as you can see, 4D printing, I don't know if you have heard of it, Edge AI 5G. I hope you are familiar with 5G as it's related to the ScaleUp company. It says AI, PaaS, digital twin, blockchain. It is familiar, but there are many technologies that are mentioned here which we don't talk about for the time being, but we will definitely talk about them, which we will most probably to use some parts of our lives and of our businesses. So I definitely recommend that you get familiar with all these technologies. To elaborate on that one, I heard a very nice quote. I'm sure you have heard data is the oil of our day, and if data is new oil, AI is new electricity. It is more and more essential than oil to the end people and consumers, to the public, and also they like work together. To create electricity, you need to have data, but electricity is to produce electricity you need to have oil. Similarly, to have AI you need to have data, so they work together, but AI is more important for the public, and I definitely believe that. So coming to human resources, this is the nice part for the human resources departments, as the AI will take, as it's been told, AI will take jobs of many people. Of course, it's a joke. It's the most common joke of our day, maybe. We are not there yet, hopefully, fortunately. So I'm just trying to navigate through my slides. Sorry for the couple seconds of delays. So I read this recent news. A hotel in Japan fired its robot employees because they lacked some of the tasks. So we are not there. Robots are not taking our jobs yet, especially if the robot looks like a dinosaur. We are definitely safe there. And I will not talk about the catastrophic scenarios which we have been told, like in the past 40 to almost 40 years. Just after the AI term started, the mass media started to generate some scenarios over there, and I definitely recommend to all of you to watch all these movies and some related uh, TV series like Black Mirror. It has many good projections about what AI will and can do in the future and how it will impact our lives. But to be realistic, what will AI impact? I hope you know what these abbreviations mean, RIP and RPA. RIP is rest in peace and RPA is robotic process automation. It is this our topic, the theme of the webinar today. How I correlate them? RPA means RIP for the routine tasks. So if your task, if your job is can be defined, then it means that it can be taken by the robots or by the artificial intelligence. So the routine tasks, the manual operational tasks will most probably be taken by robots in order to achieve efficiency and in order to achieve some cost savings, also to create some area for the people to do more value adding jobs as a human resources professional. I can say that this is one of the things that people value the most when taking on a role, taking on a job, etc. So it will also support that motivation of the employees. But if your tasks all consisting of routine tasks, so there might be some danger for you there. So where we will focus in order not to be overtaken by the robots. So these are some soft skills or emotional parts of the human that cannot be taken by the robots or by AI. So it's almost impossible, and I will not say impossible, to teach a robot what imagination is, what creativity is. There are some things going on in the art part. It's mostly mimicking what the past artists have done, and also how can you teach the values or empathy or mystery, even funnier, to a robot. So it is a very big challenge there, and if you develop your skills around these areas, it is more and more difficult for you to be overtaken by AI. And to combine all what I've said, the human of the future will develop his skills, his soft skills or emotional skills, EQ part, and also we'll be able to use the wonderful technologies of our day and future, like AI, IoT, blockchain, etc. So this is the perfect human of the future. What to develop and what to learn is more or less obvious, actually. So where are we at today? So this chart is showing what AI has overcome since 1997. It started with chess, obviously Deep Blue, and it did some nice things in Jeopardy, played poker, recently played Go and beaten the world champion, vision, language translation, speech recognition. We are all aware of these capabilities of AI. And the red line is showing today. And if you can see just above the red line, we have human resources. So it is the next stop for AI. And if you look at the top of the mountain, it's art. So it's, as I said in the previous slide, it's the most challenging part for AI. And this study by McKinsey is showing the AI adoption by industry and function. It's a very recent study, and as you can see, telecoms companies are adopting AI in service operations parts, and what else to emphasize? Retail companies, of course, are focusing on marketing and sales. Automotive are using AI in manufacturing, etc. So these are the you can see the adoption levels by that different industries and functions. Yeah, but it's sad that we don't see human resources here. So I made my own slides as a response to that study, and would like to share what we are doing, what projects we are generating to use AI in human resources. So we started a project to screen the candidates, CVs of the candidates that apply to our company, and we are creating some short lists with that algorithm. And of course, like some other companies, we are working on to have some video interview solutions, and we are moving our routine and manual tasks to the automation, of course, and we are trying to measure the employee experience by some real video analysis and measure the experience mood of the employees momentarily. And we are trying to detect some anomalies in the performance measurements and the KPIs through AI, and we are trying to detect the high potential employees with AI. And the other use case that I will go in detail, we are trying to predict when an employee is likely to leave. We have developed a chatbot where the employees can ask HR related questions, and of course we are working to generate some customized career recommendations based on the internal profiles of the employees. So this is where we started, and we made some progress there. I will share the details of two use cases here, but more and more projects are being discussed between teams, and fortunately our IT team is supporting us there. So the first one is hire or not. As I mentioned briefly in the previous slide, we have generated an algorithm to read or to process, better word, to process the CVs, resumes of the candidates. Actually, they are free format resumes. They are most of them are PDF files, and every candidate has his or her own free format. So this algorithm is processing all the file, all the text written in the PDF file, and generating some probability that this candidate is likely or not likely to be hired by the company. Of course, it is not the final decision maker, but it is a tool for the recruitment team to create short lists among thousands of applications. As we are one of the top employers in the country, we are receiving a lot of applications for all our positions, especially our new graduates program. This year we received almost 30,000 applications, so it is a good way to start and to create the interview list among these applicants. The other use case is employee turnover prediction or employee churn prediction. This is especially important when one of our critical employees or star employees is likely to leave our company. We have a very good data here, and our IT team responsible for HR is really good. I can give the credit to them. We have our own data warehouse, and we can track many of the data related to the employees, and through these parameters we created an algorithm, a machine learning algorithm, to predict the probability of an employee, whether he or she will leave the company soon or not. And the human resources teams are taking action if he or she is a critical employee or a star employee, and we don't want him or her to leave the company. And it's a Bayesian model, so with every new thing, it is with every new case, the algorithm is developing itself. But the challenge is that when we take action and if we prevent employee from leaving the company, so we are not sure if he or she was really going to leave or not. So it's our challenge for the time being. The other challenges we faced, actually we had very little tiny challenge that we overcame so easily. It's a joke, of course, the challenge of almost every AI or data science problem is, of course, data. So to have the to assure the quality of the data and to have, of course, vast amounts of data was our main challenge, is our main challenge actually for all the projects that are going on. So we have hired a personnel to only responsible for the data quality of the employees, and we are trying to store and generate more and more data to feed our algorithms. And of course, we put some data responsibles across the human resources team. So each department is responsible for a part of the data, and they're trying to improve the quality of the data. As they start using the data and as they get benefits from it, actually it's easier to convince them to have more to get more effort from them. So this is the biggest challenge that we are working on. And we are saying that we are trying to become an AI-driven company. I'd like to share our story here. So at the end of 2017, our training function, Turkcell Academy, launched a training program called Digital Masters. And under this program, almost 20%, let's say, of our employees got trained in AI, machine learning, data analysis, programming, etc. So it was a wonderful program. I took part in it myself as well. So we have, there was no prerequisite. All the employees were able to apply to this training, and as I said, 20% of the employees got trained. So these employees are across the company. So we have people in human resources like myself trained in data science. We have people in marketing trained in machine learning, etc. So within each function, we have what we call student data scientists or AI ambassadors, AI evangelists that who are mainly responsible for using AI and data science for their own function. Also, they are generating new and more AI projects. Like we have our own stores across the country, and we are trying to implement some new solutions to track the cameras, video feed from the cameras of the stores, and also to measure the moods, happiness of the customers entering in and leaving our store. So this project was an example came from the sales team, because if you have IT teams got trained in AI and the business teams who are only focusing on business, and even if you bring them together and make them do some workshops, do brainstorming and generate some projects, etc., it is its effects are limited, I believe. But if you train the people in the functions and teach them what data science is, what AI is, what can do, how it works, etc., they develop their own projects. So this is what we are trying to do. And as it's my job, I'm managing all these citizen data scientists and data science and AI community across the company. So it's also a new model in the human resources world, I can tell. So what can other companies do to become AI-driven company? So it is important to overcome the challenges related to data. So there should be a data collection strategy. The data warehouse should be very good, and some parts of the business should be owners of the data, and they should be responsible for ensuring the data quality for their responsibility area. Awareness and training is very important, as I mentioned. There's been a recent training launched at the end of last month, AI for everyone. Like those awareness trainings should be taken by all the employees, I believe, including the CEOs of the companies, to get to know what AI can do. Sorry. Yeah. And it is important to get this return on training investments as well. So like what we are doing here. So we didn't. Sorry, something weird with my. Okay. So it's important to get the return on training investments. So it's not enough to train people, but also you should push people to use their training, their knowledge in their jobs or in other parts of the organization. So top management support is really key here, of course. So they should be convinced that AI can and will do benefits for the company, and to get their support, to convince them, it is good to produce some prototypes and to show them some quick wins, because most of the AI projects are long-term projects because of the challenges that are known by many people. But if you show them these prototypes and quick wins, I'm sure it is easier to convince the senior management, and you can develop internal projects as well as projects for the customers. The benefit of internal projects is to bring people around the project and to generate more and more projects to be used by the employees and internalize AI within the company. As I said, we have IT team. Also, we have all these citizen data scientists across the company generating AI projects for their own functions. It is really key here, and those people are becoming champions, masters or evangelists of their own department to bring more and more projects to life. What can everyone do individually? As I shared in the beginning of my presentation, so it is important to get the business knowledge and improve the professional skills, also the soft skills to not to be overtaken by AI, but the business knowledge and professional skills is important to combine business and AI together and to be able to generate AI solutions for the business and to develop technical skills like machine learning, deep learning, and other advanced algorithms, etc. There are many resources on the web. I'm sure you are familiar with most of these or some of these. So please use the resources already available on the internet. Most of them you can reach by free, and you can attend some competitions to see where you are, to challenge yourself, etc. And above all, ScaleUp 360 Cognitive Business Automation webinar is a very good way to get familiar with the use cases and with techniques, with what's going on in the world in AI world. So I like to take this chance to thank Ayrton and the organizing committee to giving me the chance to speak to you. And thank you all for your attention and for listening to me. You can reach me via LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to read and answer your questions now.
First of all, thank you, Sammy, for your presentation. If you still have questions, you can use the question box. I'm Peter, and I'm directing the Q&A session. And during the session, we have a few questions already. So first question would be, which solution provider supports you in the implementation of AI?
We are generating our own projects. As I said, we have a very strong centralized team, and also we have an HR analytics team consisting of 7 people. 2 of them got trained in data science. The others are mainly good in SQL and dashboard creations. And also we get support from the other centralized IT team. So we are all generating projects on our own.
Okay. Another question is, what were the cost of the implementation of the training for the 20% you called it staff in HR, data scientists, and marketing? And will be there further trainings and courses for the employees, or it's more like the ambassadors now spreading the word of AI?
So it might not be suitable for me to share the cost of the training, but around 1,000 people got trained, and you can multiply it with the average trainings you can see online. But it wasn't a low budget, I can tell. And what was the second part of the question?
Will be there further trainings for the employees?
Yeah. We are now, the academy is now working to bring the digital masters 2, which will mostly the advanced algorithms and advanced techniques in the machine learning, deep learning parts.
And the last question I have, what are the next projects or the next challenges?
So next challenges are mostly related to predictions. So now actually we are trying to brainstorm on what else can we predict. So my personal challenge for this year is, as I said, the project we developed was we are assessing the candidates and we are deciding whether hire or not, and we are creating short list depending on the probability outcome. My challenge is that to find out whom to hire. So to form the perfect team, to form the perfect organization, uh, to support the innovation culture, to support diversity. You can name many parameters there. So whom should we hire next to support our vision there? So it's more challenging than deciding on hire or not, but whom to hire, predicting that is my recent challenge.